Hi, I'm Cy, and today I'm reviewing this Aquaseal plus FD with Tenacious Tape repair kit. We're going to repair our tumble track, which has a leak in it, and see if it does the job. To get started, we're going to first have this inflated all the way to identify where the leak is. The idea is I already have identified where the leak is, but if you don't know or you can't feel it with your hands, you would want to get a spray bottle or a rag with soapy water and spread it across different areas until you see an area that starts bubbling. And I'll show you where the leak is on mine. If you have an idea, you can identify and pinpoint exactly where it is with a little bit of water from a rag. And after we do that, we're going to go ahead and apply what is called the Aquaseal FD. And then we are going to, a couple hours later, apply the Tenacious Tape. So we'll go through every step. To get started, let's just go ahead and see how we would see where the leak is if we have an idea where it's at. If you have an idea where the leak is, something as simple as just dropping some water from a wet rag on the area can show you really quick. You should be able to see that spraying out of that hole where I put the water at. There you go. So we found and identified the leak. Once you've identified where the leak is, clean off the surface, dry it up, and then you can just put a little pen mark around where the leak is. And next we're going to go ahead and deflate our tumble track, and we are going to clean the area with alcohol. So I told you I had to deflate this mat in order to seal it, but I'm going to have to do something slightly different because of the way that this top part is here. If I deflate it, I'm not able to open up enough space where I can properly put the glue. And so basically, I'm going to have it sitting up, but I'm going to do something unique in order to make it so that there's no air leaking when I apply the Aquaseal. But first, we are going to go ahead and clean it with this alcohol pad. You can use a isopropyl rubbing alcohol in order to clean the area really good. And so once I've got the area nice and clean, remembering exactly where my hole is, I'm going to go ahead and dry it off completely. And I do want to say about the Aquaseal, which I'll show you in a minute, it is meant to be used in a very well ventilated area. That's why I'm outside. I wouldn't want to even use this inside without proper protective gear because of the fumes. So we are now ready. I'd say it's probably nice and dry now. We're ready to apply the Aquaseal. So before we go any further, I'm going to go ahead and show you what's in the repair kit. You've got this little tube here. Open up the tube. You have your Aquaseal glue. You have instructions. You have a brush. And you have 2 circles of Tenacious Tape. We're going to use the clear Tenacious Tape. And so as I was explaining, I'm going to apply the glue, the Aquaseal, and then I'm going to put the Tenacious Tape on top. But since I'm not able to have this laying on a flat surface because I had to keep air in it to make sure that it would be able to open up enough surface area for me to work with, then I'm going to have this standing up with some air in it, and I'm going to put a small piece, I'm just going to cut a tiny piece off of this Tenacious Tape and cover this hole with it before I apply the glue, and we'll see the next step after that. Okay, so as I stated I was going to do, I'm going to cut a small piece off of here. So you can still see I have most of my circle. I just cut this small piece off. Now I'm going to peel the backing off of here, and I'm going to apply it over the hole before I add the Aquaseal. You can see how it comes apart here, and I'm going to go ahead and apply that here. So this is just to keep any air from leaking out while I am applying the Aquaseal. That's on there pretty good. So we're about to apply the Aquaseal, but I just want to make it sure that you understand that the hole is about here, and we want to have about 1 inch around the hole of the Aquaseal, and then we would let it cure for 8 to 12 hours. However, we're going to let it cure for 2 hours. Then we're going to put our circle on there, and you can see this is about a 3-inch diameter. That's about right, because if you have 1 inch covered here, you have to have about a 1/2 inch extra to cover outside. So if the inch goes to here, then this will extend maybe more like to here. We'll be sure and center it on there. And I don't have quite the inch that I need. I mean, the 1/2 inch that I need in addition to 1 inch on this because I cut a little bit off, but I think it's still gonna work out fine. We've got our application brush here. I've got a glove on to protect my hand, and of course I'm not gonna be inhaling this. And if it's the first time you're opening it, you're gonna have to break this seal here. So I'm going to go ahead and break it just like that. And I'm going to go ahead and just put a nice dollop on here. I don't know if that's the right word, but I'm going to put a good amount before spreading it out, nice and thick. And I'm going to attempt to spread it in a circle that's about 1 inch around the hole. And I measured it. This little seam right here is about 1 inch away from the hole. And I am noticing that some of the brush fibers are coming off as I'm spreading this. I think I'll take a little bit more. I'm gonna go ahead and put the cap back on. And we're gonna let this set for about 2 hours before we apply the patch over the top, which is the Tenacious Tape. And I have seen some other videos of people doing this, and in some cases it seems that you don't even need to apply any Tenacious Tape on top, but I'm gonna do that to make extra sure that this leak is fixed. It's now been over 4 hours since I put the original Aquaseal down on here. I had checked it at 2 hours and it definitely felt like it wasn't dry enough to try and put anything over it. So I decided to wait longer. So now I'm going to go ahead and do this. We're just going to have to see how well it seals. But we're just going to go ahead. You can see here there's a seam that makes it easier to take off the edge of this tape, the Tenacious Tape. Taking off the seal. I'm going to try and get it totally centered. I'm going to push out from the center. And it does look like the Aquaseal adhesive underneath is not moving out, which I'm happy about. I wanted it to stay in place. And so I'm going to go ahead and put the gloves on and push this down a little further. You can see I placed this pyramid here in this rock to try and level out this surface because it was not very flat. And you want it to be flat so that the Aquaseal stays instead of having it flow or drip into another area. And I do have another question. I'm not sure what I'm going to do. I'm going to let this set up for longer than I expected. I think I'm going to let it set for at least 24 hours from when I originally put down the Aquaseal. Then I'm going to see if maybe I should apply another layer of Aquaseal over this Tenacious Tape. And so now I'm just pushing down to the outside, trying to make sure that I have a completely good seal all the way across, and that there's no air underneath the Tenacious Tape. And I can feel, it might be hard to see, but underneath this Tenacious Tape where the Aquaseal is laid down, it did cure enough to where it's not moving outward as I push down. It seems I'm getting most of any air pockets that would be in here out. So I am going to let this sit overnight, and then I'm going to decide if I want to put another layer of the Aquaseal adhesive over this. It's only been about 30 minutes since I put the Tenacious Tape on. I'm going to go ahead and clean up the area with an alcohol pad again, and I am going to dry it and apply another layer of Aquaseal all across the top. Just this area, it does seem pretty well sealed, but I'm going to make sure that we have a really good seal on here. And I'm going to spread the Aquaseal with a knife since I dropped my brush in a dirty area and don't want to try and figure out how to clean it right now. So, opening the Aquaseal. Here we go. I'm spreading a thinner layer this time, which I'm okay with because I feel like this is just to let it dry faster, and since we've already got a good seal, I think, underneath, just want to make sure that we're well covered, but I do think we're going to need a little more. The brush probably would be better. I'm going to clean this blade a little with this alcohol wipe when it's uncured, and this should level out a little bit. We're just going to go ahead and let that sit for 8 to 12 more hours at least. So we know that the Aquaseal is all set. There's no tackiness or anything to it, and I'm happy with the way the seal looks. It seems like it's covered everything well. It has been about 18 to 20 hours or so since I applied the last bit of Aquaseal, so I feel like it's had plenty of time to cure. The only thing left is to inflate this to its full capacity and have some people jump on it, and then let it sit for several hours and see if it holds the air. So let's go ahead and get somebody jumping on this. We're going to go ahead and have my daughter do a couple things on it to see if it's holding air good. Does it feel like it's holding air compared to how it was before?
Yeah.
Okay, so hopefully the seal is working good. Thank you so much, Lexi, for being a demo person for us. Okay, so the only thing left to do is wait several hours and make sure that this tumble track is holding air. So it has been about 4 hours or more since we jumped on this before, and it's still holding the air, and the seal looks good. So I'd say that we are good, that this Aquaseal FD with Tenacious Tape worked good. One thing I would say is that this did not come with good instructions. There are some instructions in here, but the instructions didn't really explain well, and the videos I could find from Aquaseal didn't really explain well, so I watched a lot of videos to kind of see what people were doing, and I do kind of feel like what I've shown in this video is a good way to do it. I'd probably follow that kind of way rather than the instructions, but I would look at the instructions and I would try to lay your material that you're trying to fix down flat. But all things considered, I could definitely say that it works. Hopefully it's going to hold for a long time. It kind of seems like it will. I hope you liked my review of the Aquaseal FD adhesive with Tenacious Tape. If you did, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe to this channel, share this video, and I will see you next time. Thank you so much for watching.